Welcome back to Murder, Mystery, Crime, and History. This next video is going to be about Marvin Clark. This is considered to be the longest lasting unsolved disappearance case. Please enjoy the video. Also like, comment, and subscribe. Marvin Alvin Clark was an American man who disappeared under mysterious circumstances while en route to visit his daughter in Portland, Oregon during the Halloween weekend of 1926. Clark's case has the distinction of being the oldest active missing person case in the United States. Marvin Alvin Clark was born in 1852 in Marion County, Iowa, United States. Marvin Clark disappeared October 30th, 1926, aged 73 or 74, in Portland, Oregon, United States. The status of his disappearance is he has been missing for 95 years and 6 months. On October 30th, 1926, Clark departed his home in Tigard, Oregon, to meet his daughter in downtown Portland. He never arrived to meet his daughter, and none of his family made contact with him that day. Some witnesses claim to have seen Clark at a bus terminal in Portland that day, dressed in a dark suit and slacks. Over a week later, on November 9th, Clark's wife Mary received a postcard from Bellingham, Washington, apparently sent from her husband. Several witnesses in the area claim to have seen him there between November 2nd and November 3rd. In 1986, a John Doe was discovered in a wooded area between Portland and Tigard. These remains were estimated to have been between 35 and 55 years old at the time of death, and several mementos from the late 19th and early 20th centuries were discovered along with the body, leading detectives to suspect the remains were Clark's. Reports of this potential connection made national headlines in 2011. However, in 2018, it was determined through DNA testing that these remains were not those of Clark. As of 2018, Clark's whereabouts remain unknown. According to U.S. Census records, Marvin Clark was born circa 1852 in Marion County, Iowa. Both of Clark's parents were from New York. Clark moved to Oregon with his wife, Mary, as early as 1910. According to the 1910 U.S. Census, he resided in the community of Holbrook. Clark was at one time the town marshal of Linton, a district that would later become part of Portland. On October 30th, 1926, Clark left his home in Tigard around 1 p.m. to visit his daughter, Miss Sidney McDougal, who was a resident and manager of the Hereford Hotel at 735 Hoyt Street in northwest Portland. The initial report of Clark's disappearance on November 6, 1926, by the Morning Oregonian stated that he had embarked to Portland by stagecoach, though a report published the following week said he had traveled by bus. According to sightings, Clark had been seen at the terminal on Yamhill Street in downtown Portland, dressed in a dark suit and slacks. This was the last reported sighting of him. According to the newspaper reports, Clark suffered from paralysis and could not properly use his right arm. He also walked with a limp, a distinction that police hoped would help elicit sightings of him. His daughter offered a $100 reward for information leading to his discovery. On November 9th, the Bellingham Herald, a newspaper in Bellingham, Washington, reported that Clark's wife, Mary, had received a disconnected postcard purportedly written by her husband that was postmarked in Bellingham, and that there had been witnesses who saw Clark at two hotels in the area on November 2nd and 3rd. The news article read, "The letter indicated that the aged man's mind is wandering as it was badly jumbled despite the fact that Clark is highly educated, being a graduate of 2 universities." In 1986, nearly 60 years after Clark's disappearance, loggers discovered a nearly complete human skeleton in the woods between Tigard and Portland. Although no identification could be found with the body, an 1888 Liberty Head nickel, a 1919 penny, a pocket watch, leather shoes, and a Fraternal Order of Eagles pocket knife, and 4 tokens with the inscription DNP were found near the body. A .38 revolver and a spent shell were also found near the remains. A pair of wire-rimmed glasses were also discovered. Upon the autopsy of the John Doe, the state medical examiner, Dr. Karen Gunson, observed a bullet hole in the man's skull and effectively ruled the death a suicide. The estimated age of the John Doe was 35 to 55 years old. Several days after the discovery, Clark's granddaughter, Dorothy Willoughby, came forward suspecting that John Doe may have been her missing grandfather, but a positive identification could not be made at the time. Willoughby died in 1991. In 2011, Dr. Nikki Vance of the Oregon State Medical Examiner's Office revisited Clark's missing person file, and forensic pathologists were able to retrieve sufficient DNA from the skeletal remains of the John Doe, which had remained in storage since its 1986 discovery. In a 2014 article published by the Oregonian, it was stated that the medical examiners were unable to locate maternal descendants of Clark in order to make a positive identification. "They're looking for a maternal link," said Vance. someone on his mother's side, and following that lineage to shore it up. There's an association out there, but it's not strong at this point. In 2018, KOIN TV reported that Pam Knowles, a great-great-granddaughter of Clark, provided DNA samples along with her son to determine whether or not the remains of the John Doe were in fact Clark's. These DNA samples were sent to the University of North Texas for comparison, whereupon it was determined that the remains were not those of Clark. As of 2018, the identity of the John Doe's remains is unknown. The DNA samples provided by Knowles and her son remain on file with the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System database for potential future comparison. Ryan Hackla, a Multnomah County police officer, stated, quote unquote, "If at any point in the future bones are sent in and it's Marvin, we will get a positive identification. And who's to say he won't get found by a hunter or a landscaper or developer or something like that happens. So there's a chance he could still be found." That's all for the video about the strange and long disappearance of Marvin Clark. I think it's best that we continue to talk about these cases, keep them remaining relevant, so hopefully one day they can be solved. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the bell so you're notified for new videos.